I'm Tatum Grey, 27, plant-based chef, renter of a sunlit shoebox over a bodega on Sunset, and the sort of person who talks to basil like it's a roommate. Los Angeles smells different at 5 a.m., like asphalt cooling from yesterday's fury, like oranges sweating in crates, like possibility if you lean in and let yourself believe. I was believing hard that morning. My menu sat printed in my tote, edges crisp, ink still a little tacky. 6 dishes, months in the making. A clean, cinematic arc on a plate, street-inspired, farmer's market faithful, zero waste clever. The show had called 3 weeks before, Good Morning Pacific, the kind of sunny, relentless TV that sells you smoothies and dreams. A producer named Ari said they loved my pop-up cart, Green Gray, and wanted to feature my plant-first comfort menu on live TV. Why me? I'd asked, stirring a pot of cashew cream. At 11 p.m., Ari had laughed. Because you're fresh. Because your food looks like it has a storyline. I couldn't stop smiling. Food that told a story. Finally, someone heard the language I'd been speaking with my hands. Studio B was colder than hospitals and twice as sterile. They mic'd me up with a sticky square that tugged at my skin. A hair person smoothed a curl like I was a cake that needed extra icing. I laid my ingredients out under the lights: charred scallions, preserved lemon dust, whole grain nixtamalized tortillas I'd pressed at 4 a.m. The little jar of smoked chili oil I guarded like jewelry. The host, Ravenvale, swept in like a trademark. Sharp suit, whiter than teeth smile, a gold watch that probably cost more than my car. I knew her. Everyone did. Raven was the queen of quick-fix wellness and immaculate, unattainable mornings. Tatum, she chirped, tasting my name like foam on a latte. So excited to have you. Thank you, I said, palms sweating despite the cold. Big fan. We did a quick rehearsal. Raven asked the producer, "We're doing the reset menu today, right?" Ari nodded. Tatum's reset plant-first comfort for fall. Tatum's reset. It sounded like a green light. In the lull before live, I breathed through my checklist. Mise organized. Sauce warmed. Grill pan. Searing lines like tiger stripes. 30 seconds, someone shouted. A camera drifted close enough to catch my heartbeat. Raven leaned in, her perfume clean and expensive, like grapefruit and aviation. "You'll be great," she whispered. "Just follow my lead." 5, 4, 3. We were on. "Welcome back to Good Morning Pacific today. We have something special," Raven sang to the lens. "My new fall reset menu. 6 plant-based dishes you can make at home to feel nourished and light." I smiled. "Wait, what?" My ears chimneyed with blood. I looked at Ari. She was smiling too. Not at me. Raven gestured to the layout. "We're starting with my signature mushroom birria taco, slow-simmered umami with a bright lemon crema. It's addictive. My lemon crema. My taco. My dish name, the way I'd written it. Photo ready." I think," I started, mouth cotton dry. The cameraman lifted 2 fingers. "Keep going." Raven pinched a tortilla and dipped it in the consommé. "So, in my kitchen, I like to char scallions for depth," she said, tipping the bowl toward the lens. "This is my trick." I watched my trick presented like a magic she had learned in a dream. I'd taught myself that flavor, on a rainy Tuesday, with rent overdue, with hands that smelled like limes and survival. "I'm honored to be cooking my menu with Raven," I said, the smile cutting into my cheeks like wire. Raven clapped. "Tatum's helping me today. She's so talented. Helping. Like I was an assistant in my own head." I kept moving. Mechanical. My hands performed the choreography my heart refused to follow. Fold, dip, sear, flip. I stood inches from the theft, and every inch hurt. Between segments, a floor manager in black darted over, whispering, "We love assertive energy, Tatum, but don't contradict the host on air, okay? Legal reasons." "Legal?" I echoed. "Your release," she mouthed, and vanished. My release. The form I'd signed in a lobby that smelled like coffee and furniture polish. I'd skimmed the blocks of legalese, the allowed to use your likeness of it all. I hadn't imagined allowed to annex your soul. Segment 2. Raven presented my carrot lox tartine as Raven's river toast. Segment 3. Her autumn reset bowl was my charred cabbage with millet crunch, plated on a dish I'd thrifted and loaned. Tell them your small batch chili oil origin story, Raven said, feeding me the line. I swallowed the truth and chewed the lie. On cue, I giggled. I was playing with smoke and heat one night and I told you, add a touch of sesame. Raven cut in, pointing at the jar with manicured certainty. Game changer. The room laughed. I didn't. We finished on applause, the hollow kind that echoes. Raven hugged me. Her watch was cold against my wrist. To the camera, she said, "You can download my full fall reset menu on my site right now." A QR code flashed on screen. My menu file name in the corner. Reset, menu, Raven, V1, PDF. Ari caught me by the elbow. "You were great," she said. Her eyes didn't meet mine. "Why did she call it hers?" I asked, trying to keep my voice shaped like a question, not a scream. Ari exhaled. "We had to package it. It'll be good for you." Exposure, babe. Exposure. The currency of people who never worry about rent. I wrote that menu, I said. Those dish names, the whole arc. Ari's smile tensed. "Look. Legally, we're covered. The release gives us broad usage." The segment was Raven's. "You're a collaborator." I laughed. It sounded like a plate breaking. When I left the studio, LA had heat again. I walked past a mural with bright birds and a word in cursive. Bloom. My phone pinged like it was trying to wake me. Texts. DMs. Tags. Raven invented the best plant-based birria. Oh my god, Queen Raven did it again. Who's the girl next to her? She looked mad. LOL. I sat on a concrete planter and watched the clip already looping across feeds. Raven's hands, my food, her name. It wasn't just theft. It was laundering. Polishing my credit into her shine. Back at my apartment, I set the tote down like it might explode. I opened my laptop and clicked the QR from the replay. Raven's site was glossy and fast. There it was. Raven Vale's Fall Reset menu. 6 recipes. Renamed just enough to fit in her brand, but still wearing the bones of mine. At the bottom, a footnote. Assisted by local chef TG. Assisted. Like I'd held the camera while she baptized my work in gold. My email chimed. Subject line. Cease and desist. Use of marks and names. I clicked. A law firm letter. Clean and cruel. Dear Miss Grey. It has come to our attention that you have used dish names and marks confusingly similar to Miss Vale's reset properties. Any continued usage may constitute infringement. This letter serves as notice to cease and desist from using the names Autumn Reset Bowl, Raven's River Toast, Birria Reset Taco, and any substantially similar variations. I read it twice. My face felt hot and freezing all at once. "I used them first," I whispered. "They were mine." I scrolled. Attached. Screenshots of my Instagram prototypes, captions predating the show. Pieces of me offered as evidence against me. "You're kidding," I said to no one. To the basil. To the city. I called the number for Ari, straight to voicemail. I called my ex, Maya, a lawyer with a tender spine and a ruthless brain. We hadn't spoken since the breakup that tasted like burnt sugar. She answered on the second ring. "Tatum? I know it's been a minute," I said, breath hitching, "but I need to ask you something about intellectual property." A pause, the sound of her exhale. "What happened?" By then, tears had found the corners of my mouth, salty and humiliating. I told her the abbreviated version. TV. Live. Stolen. "Do you have drafts? Timestamps? Anything that shows origin?" Maya asked. Voice clipped. Efficient. "Google Docs. Notarized, no, but I have footage of recipe tests, notes, market receipts. Save everything," she said. "Don't delete, don't rename. Don't post anything reactive." Reactive. I'd wanted to go nuclear. After we hung up, I made tea I didn't drink. I replayed the moment in the studio when Raven said, "Just follow my lead." I thought about all the times I'd followed leads, bosses, landlords, men in kitchens, women in power, smiling producers with clipboards, everyone sure I should be grateful. Gratitude as leash. On my counter, My old camcorder sat between a sack of avocados and a jar of fennel seeds. I'd bought it when my cart first launched, telling myself I'd film recipes someday when I had more time. Time never comes. You take it. I pulled the camera forward and flipped the screen. My own face stared back, red-eyed, furious, alive. I'm Tatum Grey, I said, the words sticky at first, then sharper. I'm going to show you exactly how I built the menu that someone tried to steal, and I'm going to do it in the open, so no one can touch it. The plan formed like a bruise, painful, obvious, impossible to ignore. Pop-up dinners. Limited seats. Menus revealed. Day of. Camera rolling on the prep from first chop to last plate. Live streams with timestamps, raw and real, pinned and watermarked, proof embedded in every pixel. Turn her spotlight into my receipt. I moved fast. Bought a domain for the series Green Gray. Live. Wrote a breathless description. Pop-up dinners where you can watch the food exist before it exists. Posted a teaser on my feed. A photo of my hands dusted in cornflour. Captioned, "They took my voice. I'm going louder." Within minutes, comments stacked like plates after service. Spill the tea. Name names. Raven will bury you, girl. Do it live. A DM blinked at the top of the pile. Request folder. No profile picture, just a gray circle and 3 words. I was there. I clicked. The message expanded. I'm a junior at GMP. You were set up. If you want proof, say yes. But you didn't hear it from me. My heart thudded. My cursor hovered over the reply box. Outside, Sunset Boulevard breathed a slow, restless rhythm. Proof. A stranger offering gasoline when I'd only just lit a match. I typed 1 word. Yes. A typing bubble appeared. Then a file icon popped into the chat. Untitled, agreement, RV, reset, final, FIF. My throat closed. A video. My finger trembled over the trackpad. I pressed play. The screen filled with a conference room, Raven's laugh, a whiteboard with my dishes scrawled under the heading, Raven Vale Reset Ownership. Everything tilted, everything clarified, everything set. I took a breath, hit pause, and reached for the phone. Hey, I said when Maya answered. Change of plan. Change of plan, I told Maya, and dragged the video file into the cloud like it was radioactive. She listened to the first 30 seconds and swore softly. That's a development meeting, she said. And they wrote ownership over your dishes. My dish names are right there, I said, in my handwriting. How did they get your notes? Maya asked. I sent draft names to Ari a week ago, I said. She said the art team needed them for on-screen graphics. Maya inhaled. That video helps, she said. Chain of custody is messy, but it paints a picture. Don't post the file raw. Watermark. Metadata. Blur faces except Raven's. Protect the source, I said, thinking of the gray profile picture. They're a student, a junior at the network. They could lose everything. Then don't message them on Instagram again, she said. I'm texting you an encrypted link. Tell them to use it. And Tatum? Yeah? Whatever you put out, you can't take back. Make it about process, not personal attacks. Show your work. Let people connect the dots. I stared at the paused frame whiteboard scribbles, Raven's high laugh, a marker tapping the word ownership like a gavel. I'm done being quiet, I said, but I won't be sloppy. We hung up. The apartment felt smaller, like the walls had leaned in to eavesdrop. A new message pinged in my encrypted inbox a half-hour later. I'm Juno, it read. I pulled that clip. They deleted the original, but the server keeps backups for 30 days. There was a second file. A calendar invite screenshot. RV reset segment rehearsal. Note. Integrate TG language in host script without attribution. My teeth clicked with rage. Why? I typed. Why help me? Because they tell us to love food and then steal it, Juno replied. And because my mom watches your cart, Green Gray, on Pico. She says your cabbage made her stop craving ribs. I laughed, choked, then wiped my face with the back of my hand. Okay, I wrote. You're an angel. Also, delete our messages after. Already gone, Juno replied. Be careful, they're not. I slept 3 hours. max. When the sun came up, I had a plan taped to my fridge, a supply list exploding out of notes, and 2 espressos fighting in my veins. Pop-up 1, 30 seats. Location: the back room of Plant and Poetry, a plant shop that smelled like soil and Sunday, owned by my friend Jules, a ceramicist with vines tattooed up both arms, and a talent for breaking bad news kindly. I can give you Friday, Jules said over FaceTime, turning the camera to show the room: white walls, string lights, a cinder block bar. I could turn into a plating station. But we have a workshop at 7, so you'd need to flip the room by 6. I'll plate fast, I said. I need power strips, 3 induction burners, and a miracle. Miracles are extra, Jules grinned. Power strips? Yes. Also, I'm going to make you plates that look like low tide. Matte gray. Drama. God bless the potter, I said. I called my supplier, Mrs. Alvarez, the market queen. Baby, she said. I saw that show. I wanted to throw cilantro at the TV. I'm flipping it, I said. Can you hold me king trumpet mushrooms and 5 heads of cabbage that feel like they went to the gym? For you? She said. I'll flirt with the mushrooms myself. I set up ticketing through a platform I barely understood, then texted my cousin Leo, a software engineer with a skateboard in his trunk and a past hacking school Wi-Fi, to prank the principal. You're about to tell me you need a live stream that can't be taken down, he said, answering before the first ring finished. And watermarks you can't crop, I said. Multiple angles, clock overlay, local backups, plus cloud. He whistled. You're picking a fight. I'm filing a meal, I said. The fight is dessert. We built a little studio from nothing. 2 phones, a mirrorless camera, an old iPad as a monitor. Cables everywhere, like vines. Leo configured an RTMP server so the stream hit 3 platforms at once. Redundancy, he said. If one gets legal itchy, the others keep rolling. Maya reviewed the copy for the event listing. No names, no accusations, just truth. Watch me build a menu in real time, the description read. Every recipe is time-stamped, every technique explained. Come hungry. Noor, a food stylist I'd met on a shoot where we shared a single avocado between 6 people, texted me out of the blue. Girl, I'm between gigs, she wrote. Let me plate with you. Your hands, my tweezers. I'll pay you in cabbage, I joked. I accept, she said. Also, I know a health inspector who hates dirty secrets more than dirty sinks. Don't say inspector right now, I groaned. I'm 1 permit short of a panic attack. By Thursday, the cease and desist had evolved into a second letter with more capital letters. Maya replied for me, her email a ballet of ice. Miss Grey disputes your client's claims and asserts prior authorship, she wrote. Any attempt to restrain Miss Grey from cooking her own recipes will be met with appropriate legal action. My stomach dropped, rebounded, dropped again. I channeled it into prep. I roasted tomatoes until they blistered and sagged. I reduced mushroom stock to something like velvet. I shaved cabbage thin as confetti and tossed it with millet and toasted buckwheat until it crackled when I moved it. I filmed everything. 9:14 a.m. Mushroom reduction starts. Leo announced to the lens, clapping a slate, like we were making a movie. We were. One where the villain didn't get the final monologue. The comments on my teaser ticked up. Are you ready for a lawsuit? Girl, we'll donate to your lawyer fund. Make it spicy, literally. At noon, a message from a burner account slid into my DMs. Pull the plug or we will. No profile. No followers. A screenshot of my parking lot. I showed it to Maya. She closed her eyes, opened them. I'm sending a note to a friend at LAPD, she said. And I'm coming to the pop-up. You don't have to. I want to, she said. Also, I like your cabbage more than I like most people. For a second, the air between us warmed with the old thing. We let it be. Friday afternoon, Plant and Poetry felt like a backstage. Jules dragged out a chalkboard and wrote tonight's title in big chalk loops. Green Grey Live, the proof dinner. Noor set up a garnish station like a jewelry case. Herbs in ice, lemon zest in neat piles, microgreens shimmering like little galaxies. Stack, Don't sprinkle, she reminded me. We are not throwing rice at a wedding. Leo taped signs over every camera. This is your alibi. At 4, the seats sold out. At 5, a line formed outside the plant shop, people peering through ferns to watch me chiffonade. Someone brought flowers. Someone brought a notebook. A man in a hoodie asked me to sign a wooden spoon. You're the only internet drama I root for, he said. We went live at 5:30. The chat moved like a freeway. Hi from Seoul. Watching from Cleveland. Get it, Tatum. I introduced the menu without naming it a reset. The broth is built on patience, I said, stirring the pot like it owed me money. Onions, tomato, dried chiles, mushroom stems. Nothing goes to waste, including what they tried to take. Thank you, Subin the Taste and Wire Den. The camera loved the steam. Noor handed me the tweezers like a surgeon handing a scalpel. Maya stood near the back, her arms crossed, eyes scanning the room. Jules poured water for guests, like it was champagne. We were doing it. Not just the cooking, but the rewriting of a story, right in front of strangers who wanted to believe that a small person could still win. Halfway through the first course, my phone buzzed on the prep table. Unknown number. I ignored it. It buzzed again. And again. Then, Leo's screen lit up with a red banner. Urgent. DMCA takedown request filed. Keep rolling, Leo said through his teeth, fingers flying. They targeted Platform A. We're still on B and C. The chat split half cheers, half, it says stream unavailable. I plated faster, adrenaline turning my hands into metronomes. Noor's voice stayed even. Left corner sauce. Crown with scallion. Turn the plate like you mean it. Someone pounded on the back door. 3 hard knocks, the kind of rhythm that says we know you're in there. Jules froze. Maya looked at me, then toward the door, then at the cameras, calculating 5 moves ahead. Leo muted his mic, lifted one ear cup. The knocks came again. Miss Grey? A voice called. We have a court order. My throat went desert dry. I could feel 30 pairs of eyes ping-pong between me and the door, the camera and the pot, the saffron glow of the broth, and the real-world gray of a paper someone wanted me to touch. Noor whispered, "Don't stop your hands." I didn't. I dipped a tortilla in the broth and laid it on the grill, the sizzle answering the knock. Miss Grey, the voice said, more insistent. Open up. Maya moved, fast and calm, threading through plants and people. She reached the door and pressed her palm against the glass. Slide it under, she said. There was a pause, a rustle. A white envelope slid beneath the door like a shark's fin. Maya picked it up without opening it. She turned, walked back to the prep table, and set the envelope next to the cutting board like it was another ingredient. She leaned into my ear. They rushed a temporary restraining order, she said softly. We need to read it, but they can't stop you from cooking. Broadcasting is what they're aiming at. The camera was still on me. The chat was begging, what's happening? Don't end, we got you. I looked at the envelope. I looked at the lens. I looked at my hands, stained with chile and proof. Then my phone buzzed again. A new message from Juno. 3 words that made the room tilt. They found me. When I read the message, they found me. The sound in the room tunneled. The chatter of the diners, the hiss of the pan, the clinking of glasses, all of it went thin, like I was underwater. I looked up from my phone. Noor was mid-plating, poised, elegant. Her tweezers trembling just slightly. Maya's eyes were on me. She knew. What happened? She mouthed. I couldn't answer out loud. The camera was still streaming. Thousands of people were watching, waiting, unaware that the story behind the story had just cracked open. I stepped back from the counter, pretending to reach for herbs, and whispered into my lapel mic, "Leo, mute my channel. Now." He caught the signal instantly. The audio blinked off to the viewers. The chat went nuts. No sound? Is this part of it? What's happening? Maya touched my wrist. Who's Juno? She asked quietly. The intern. The one who sent the footage. They're in trouble. Define trouble. Before I could reply, my phone buzzed again, a photo this time. Juno's desk at the network. A note on it that said, in block letters, "Security called." Then another. I didn't mean to drag you in. I'll be okay. No, you won't, I thought. Not if Raven's people have you in their sights. I felt something hot and metallic flood my chest. Guilt, fury, panic, all of it overlapping, until it was hard to breathe. Maya stepped between me and the crowd. Tatum, she said softly. Look at me. We stay calm, we finish the dinner, we end clean, then we move. But, Juno, we can't help them if you implode on camera. She was right. God, she was right. I forced my lungs to remember how to work, and I looked back at the pan. The tortilla had gone from gold to dark brown, smoke curling up in ribbons. Noor shot me a look that said, "Focus." So I did. I flipped the taco, added the charred scallions, and plated it. My hands remembered the rhythm, even when my brain was chaos. This, I said, my mic back on, voice steady as I could fake it, is what survival tastes like. The chat erupted again. Applause emojis, fire emojis. Some people typing, "They tried to shut you down but you're still cooking." I smiled for the lens, the same practiced, pleasant smile I'd worn on Raven's show, but this time, it was armor. We finished service in that strange, electric silence that happens when something real is happening beneath the surface. People knew they'd seen more than a meal. They tipped in cash, in hugs, in whispered, "Don't let them win." When the last guest left, Leo shut down the stream. Maya locked the front door and turned the sign to closed. Noor leaned against the prep table, wiping her hands on a towel. "You're shaking," she said. "I'm fine. You're vibrating like a blender on pulse." I said I'm fine. Maya unsealed the envelope. "Let's see what we're dealing with," she read fast, lips tight. "It's a TRO, temporary restraining order. They claim you're infringing on Raven's intellectual property by publicly reproducing culinary works derived from proprietary materials." "My materials," I said. "I know. But the wording's broad enough that if a judge signs off, they can take down any streams or content using those recipes until it's resolved." "How long does that take?" "Days if we fight hard. Weeks if we don't." I ran a hand through my hair. "They're trying to starve me out." Maya nodded grimly. "Exactly. And scare your allies." As if on cue, my phone lit up again, an unknown number. I put it on speaker. "Hello?" A male voice, calm, rehearsed. "Miss Grey, this is Peter Hale, representing Vale Productions. We'd like to resolve this quietly. Continuing to broadcast stolen content will only make things worse." I laughed. "You're calling me about stolen content?" "You signed a release," he said. "You agreed to collaborate. You relinquished certain creative elements to our client." "Read the release again, Peter. There's nothing about ownership." He paused, then his tone hardened. "This is your final warning. Shut it down, or we will escalate." He hung up. Noor exhaled. "Wow, he sounds like the kind of guy who irons his socks." Leo was already typing. "I'm archiving everything. Streams, chat logs, timestamps. If they pull anything down, we'll mirror it." "Good," Maya said. "We'll need a digital paper trail." I sank onto a stool. My apron smelled like smoke and adrenaline. "I can't let them scare Juno," I said quietly. "They helped me because they believed people should know." Maya looked at me. "Then make sure what they did wasn't for nothing." "How?" "Keep the proof alive. Just smarter." I nodded, slow at first, then certain. "Okay. We'll build redundancy. Live streams, sure, but also short-form videos, edits, cross-posts. Proof on every platform. Even if they take one down, 10 more pop up." Leo grinned. "Hydra strategy. I like it." Noor smirked. "Death by algorithm." I checked my phone again, one more message from Juno, time-stamped 10 minutes ago. "They're pulling me off the project. Don't contact me again. Stay loud." My throat tightened. "Stay loud," I whispered. "I can do that." Maya looked at me over the envelope. "Then let's plan your next move." We met the next morning at my apartment, my tiny kitchen suddenly command central. Whiteboard, laptop, coffee, rage. Step 1. File a counterclaim. Step 2. Rebrand the menu under a new title, one they couldn't touch. Step 3. Expose the process, not the person. Let the audience see what authorship looks like. I'll help with the filings, Maya said, tying her hair back. You handle the narrative. That's where you win. Leo pointed at the camera gear. We can cut together a mini-doc from last night's footage. Timestamp overlays, commentary, your recipes, in chronological order. Noor raised a hand. Let's not forget the visual hook. Food is emotion. Make people taste the theft. I smiled faintly. I like that. We worked for hours. The air filled with coffee, garlic, and tension. By afternoon, we had a new title, Proof of Taste. Leo started uploading clips, me chopping, plating, laughing through tears. He layered the timestamps, the cease and desist letter, the news coverage. The video opened with my voice. They called it collaboration. I called it theft. So here's my evidence in flavor, in footage, in fire. It was raw, imperfect, honest, and it worked. By midnight, number Proof of Taste was trending. Clips spread across TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, strangers stitching my words, creators defending originality, chefs sharing their own stories of stolen credit. The tide was turning, until Raven posted a pristine, professionally lit video. Perfect hair, calm voice. She smiled into the lens and said, "It's sad when small creators confuse inspiration with imitation. I wish Tatum nothing but peace." My stomach dropped. The comments under her post split like fault lines. Half believed her, half didn't. And somewhere in the middle were the people who didn't know who to trust yet. We need receipts, Noor said. Hard ones, not emotion. Paper, files. Maya nodded. The whiteboard meeting footage is gold, but the metadata isn't enough. We need something that ties Raven's production company directly to your stolen drafts. I thought of Juno again. If they'd pulled one video, maybe there were others buried deeper. Leo, I said slowly, can you get into the network's public folder system? He raised an eyebrow. Define get into. Find anything labeled reset or RV menus. Just look. He cracked his knuckles. I'm not saying yes, but hypothetically, I could. Thanks for watching. Maya sighed. Hypothetically, don't get caught. He grinned. Of course not, hypothetically. He got to work, the glow of his laptop painting his face blue. I leaned against the counter, eyes heavy but wide awake. Do you think we're actually gonna win this? I asked Maya. She hesitated, then said, winning isn't always a verdict, Tatum. Sometimes it's just surviving loud enough that they can't erase you. I nodded. Then I'll survive like hell. Leo let out a low whistle. Got something. We all crowded around his screen. A shared drive. Folder path. Production divided by RV. Reset divided by source docs, divided by contribs. Inside a subfolder labeled Tatum Grey, drafts. My heart slammed against my ribs. He clicked it open. There they were, my recipe PDFs, my photos, my file timestamps 2 weeks before the show aired. All uploaded by Ari's email address. Noor whispered. Holy hell. Maya's voice was flat. That's direct theft. Leo started backing everything up to an encrypted drive. Then the folder blinked and vanished. Wait, he said. They're wiping it. Lines of code flashed. Access revoked. Permissions revoked. Can you stop it? I asked. I'm mirroring, but it's slow. Someone's watching the server. The cursor flickered. The last file menu. Notes. Final. Docs hit. 97%. Copied. 98%. Then froze. Connection lost. Did we get it? Maya asked. Leo's face went pale. I think so. But if they saw my IP, a sharp ping hit my phone before he could finish. Unknown number. A single message. Cute trick. Check your door. We froze. Outside, someone knocked soft, deliberate, like deja vu from the pop-up night. 3 taps. A pause. 2 more. Noor whispered, That's not delivery. Maya motioned for silence. The knock came again, harder this time. Leo muted the laptop audio. We need to get that drive out of here. Now. The knock turned into a fist, pounding. I moved toward the peephole, heart in my throat. Through the warped glass, I could just make out a shadow, tall, still, holding something white. Another envelope. But this time, the handwriting on the front wasn't typed. It was hand-scrawled in black marker. For Tatum Grey, confidential. I didn't open the door right away. I just stood there, staring at the envelope through the peephole, my pulse ticking behind my eyes. Whoever had left it was gone. No footsteps, no sound. Just the hum of the city bleeding through the cracks of my apartment. Maya's voice cut through the stillness. Tatum. Step back. I think they're gone. Doesn't matter. Step back. I obeyed. She moved forward like a cop in a legal drama, calm, precise, dangerous. She nudged the envelope inside with the edge of her shoe. Leo had already unplugged his laptop, clutching the drive like a grenade. Noor hovered near the counter, phone ready to dial 911 if this turned into something worse. Maya crouched down and flipped the envelope over. No return address. Only a single word on the seal, in red ink, proof. She looked up at me. You open it. I took it with shaking hands. The paper was thick, heavy like the kind used for wedding invites or threats you're supposed to take seriously. Inside was a single USB drive. And a note. In messy handwriting. This is what they're afraid of. Don't say my name, Jay. I didn't breathe for a full 10 seconds. Leo moved first. We're not plugging that into Wi-Fi, he said. Air gap only. He pulled out an old offline laptop, one he used for editing, disconnected from every network. He inserted the drive. 3 files appeared. No labels, just timestamps. Play the first one, I said. It was a boardroom, the same sleek glass walls from Juno's earlier clip. Raven sat at the head of the table, laughing with someone off-screen. Ari was beside her, flipping through printed pages, my recipes, my drafts. A man I didn't recognize, maybe a lawyer, said, "If we trademark the reset menu under Ravenvale Productions, any derivative work will belong to us, as long as the small chef signs the release." Raven smiled. She already did. My stomach turned. Then Ari said, "Tatum thinks it's a feature segment. We'll credit her at the end. She'll be happy with exposure." The room laughed. Real, casual laughter. Like they were planning brunch, not theft. Maya's face was stone. This is criminal misrepresentation. If that clip is authentic, it's game over for them. Leo nodded. Metadata matches Juno's other file. Same camera ID. No edits. It's legit. I sank into the couch, dizzy. For months, I'd replayed the moment of betrayal in my head. The camera lights, the applause, the smile that cost me everything. But this was worse. It was proof that they knew. They didn't stumble into it. They engineered it. Noor let out a long breath. So what now? Drop it online? Maya shook her head instantly. Not yet. If you release it yourself, they'll spin it as a deepfake. You need corroboration. A journalist, or a bigger platform. Leo looked up. I know a guy, tech reporter at Expose LA. He hates corporate takedowns. If we give him this, he'll verify the data before publishing. Will that protect Juno? I asked. Maya frowned. Only if we keep their name out of it completely, which means no mention of where it came from. I nodded. Then we keep it between us. The next 24 hours blurred. We worked in shifts, Maya handling legal prep, Leo securing backups, Noor editing footage for context. I filmed voiceovers, calm but angry, explaining how creative theft works in the food world. The tone wasn't rage anymore. It was precision. That's what Maya said would make it bulletproof. I opened the new video with my voice again, softer this time. They told me exposure was payment, so here's my invoice. Footage rolled, the stolen recipes, the whiteboard with ownership, the pop-up dinners, and finally, one still frame of Raven, laughing in that meeting blurred slightly, enough to suggest, not accuse. We ended with text on screen. Proof of taste, the documentary premiering live in 72 hours. When it went live, the internet caught fire. Food journalists started DMing me. Chefs, bloggers, even a few quiet industry execs whispering, We've seen this happen before. By the next morning, my follower count tripled, and so did the threats. Fake emails, fake legal notices, burner accounts warning me to drop it before you drown. Maya filtered my inbox, building a wall of folders labeled ignore, forward to lawyer, evidence. Meanwhile, Leo's contact at Expose LA, a reporter named Kai Mendoza, confirmed they were in. We'll verify everything, Kai said over Zoom. If it checks out, this goes public, national, and Raven's team won't be able to bury it. I asked the question I'd been scared to say out loud. Will Juno be safe? Kai hesitated. If they're still inside the network, I can't promise that. But if we redact the metadata properly, they'll be a ghost. Maya leaned into frame. That's what we need. Then send me the files, Kai said. And Tatum, don't do anything impulsive. You've already won the internet. Now win the narrative. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Juno's note, "Don't say my name." I kept wondering where they were. If they'd made it home. If they were watching the storm they started. I got up, walked to the window. The city outside pulsed neon veins, restless hearts, 1,000 stories flickering behind glass. I whispered. They think they own your light until you turn the camera back. A faint buzz broke the silence. My phone. Again. Private message. Username. RV. Press. The text. You still have time to walk away, Miss Grey. Take it. No threat this time. Just assurance. Too calm. Too confident. I didn't respond. But I did screenshot it, time and IP stamp visible. Another puzzle piece. When I turned back toward my kitchen, I noticed something strange. A small package on my windowsill, tucked just behind a potted basil plant I hadn't watered in days. Someone had left it there. Maya was asleep on the couch, laptop open, documents scattered. Leo had gone home hours ago. Noor's jacket still hung by the door. I approached slowly, the city hum sharpening in my ears. The package was a small black box, no label. I opened it carefully. Inside a flash drive. And a handwritten note in the same red ink as before. Final course. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Instead, I called Maya awake. She blinked, sat up fast. What now? I handed her the box. She frowned. You think it's from Juno? Or someone pretending to be? We used the same offline setup. Leo wasn't here, so Maya booted my backup laptop and plugged the drive in. A single file appeared. Ravenvale, personal, Mauve F. The thumbnail froze, my blood, Raven, alone this time, sitting in her dressing room. She was looking directly at the camera. I pressed play. Her voice came through, low and calm. I assume if you're watching this, the story's already out there. You think you've won, Tatum, but you don't know the whole picture. She leaned closer. They didn't steal from you. They bought you. You just didn't realize the price. Static. Then a new angle, same date stamp, same time, Raven speaking to someone off-screen. Ari, if this blows up, leak the footage. Make her look unstable. Say she threatened staff. We'll cut her down before she can rise. The video ended abruptly. Maya's face went pale. This isn't a setup, it's a confession. I swallowed. Then we end this. She nodded, carefully. 2 days later, the Expose LA feature dropped. Headline: Inside the Reset. How a TV star stole a chef's menu, and the internet watched her get caught. Kai did it perfectly. The evidence, the timeline, the blurred footage, the ethics. They protected Juno. They credited the source material to time-stamped video proof. They even linked my pop-up live streams as public records of creation. Within hours, Raven's sponsors began pausing partnerships. The network issued a statement. We are conducting an internal review. And Ari? She vanished from the company roster overnight. The same media that once laughed at the small chef now called me the proof maker. But the victory didn't feel clean. Because Juno still hadn't surfaced. Their social accounts were dark. No messages, no updates, nothing. On the night of the article's release, I stood outside the same studio where it all started. The Good Morning Pacific sign flickered above me. Half lit, tired. Maya joined me, holding 2 cups of coffee. You could walk away now, she said. Could I? You won. Publicly, legally, morally, they can't touch you anymore. I sipped my coffee. It tasted like closure, trying to convince itself it was enough. Then my phone buzzed again, an unknown number. I expected another threat, another corporate attempt to scare me back into silence. But the message was just one line. Proof tastes better than revenge. Jay. I smiled. For the first time, it wasn't bitter. I looked at the studio doors one last time, then back at Maya. Ready? She asked. Yeah, I said. Let's cook something new. As we walked away, the morning sun hit the glass just right, and for a second, the reflection looked like fire. Maybe it was. Maybe it was just light finally hitting the right side of the story. It's strange how quiet victory sounds. A week after the exposé, my phone finally stopped buzzing every minute. The storm that had swallowed my name online had begun to drift like smoke after a house fire. Only this time, I was still standing in the ashes. The world had opinions about me now. Some called me a hero. Some called me a troublemaker. Some, mostly people with blue checkmarks and brand deals, called me a cautionary tale about contracts. I called myself hungry to work, to create without fear, to feed people again for reasons that had nothing to do with proving I existed. The offers started rolling in fast, shiny, loud. Brand deals, cookbook pitches, reality show ideas that all started with the chef who fought back. I turned them down, every single one, because if there was anything the last few months taught me, it was that not all exposure is sunlight. Maya helped me draft my own LLC, Grey Table Productions, a business built to protect creators, not sell them. Leo joined as tech director. Noor became my creative partner. Together, we planned something small, quiet, real. A new pop-up dinner series, called Roots. Each dinner would highlight another independent chef who'd been overlooked or underpaid. Every dish documented, every recipe time-stamped and open-sourced. No NDAs, no cameras unless we wanted them, just food and truth. On the morning of the first Roots dinner, I woke up early not because I had to, but because peace was finally louder than anxiety. The air smelled like citrus and wet pavement. LA had rained overnight, washing the streets clean. In the kitchen, I found Maya already there, barefoot, sipping coffee and editing a sponsorship proposal for an artist collective that wanted to back the series. You never sleep, do you? I teased. She smiled. Not when you're about to change an industry. Don't jinx it, I said. I don't believe in jinxes. I believe in lawyers. I laughed. It felt good to laugh. Leo arrived next, camera gear slung over his shoulder. Noor followed with baskets of produce so fresh, it looked like color itself had come home. As we unpacked, my phone buzzed a notification from Expose LA. Breaking. Ravenvale parts ways with network amid creative integrity review. Ari had also been named in a formal investigation for misconduct. Maya read over my shoulder. Poetic justice, she murmured. Yeah, I said softly, but still, no word from Juno. She touched my arm. They'll reach out when it's safe. I nodded, but a small ache stayed under my ribs. That night, Roots opened quietly, 30 guests. No press, no sponsors. We cooked under warm lights, strung between 2 citrus trees in Jules's courtyard. Every dish had a story. A Caribbean plantain stew from a chef who'd once been told her food was too heavy for fine dining. A Vietnamese dessert that tasted like nostalgia and defiance. And my course, a reimagined version of the birria taco that had started it all. I called it Reset, Reclaimed. When I served it, I told the guests, this dish used to be my heartbreak. Tonight, it's my reminder that recipes don't belong to networks, they belong to the hands that make them. Applause rolled through the courtyard, soft but real. Maya caught my eye from across the table, pride written in the lines of her smile. Leo whispered to Noor, she's gonna cry. I didn't. But I wanted to. When the night ended, someone left a small envelope on my prep station. No name, just a wax seal stamped with a tiny sprig of rosemary. Inside was a note. Still watching, still safe, keep feeding them. Jay. I held it close to my chest, the words blurring under my tears. Maya read my face and didn't ask. She just said, "Good, they made it." A week later, I was invited to speak at a local food summit. The theme, authenticity and ownership in modern cuisine. I stood on stage, palms sweating, heart hammering, staring at a crowd of chefs, producers, students, faces filled with curiosity and maybe guilt. "I used to think success meant someone bigger saying your name," I began. "But sometimes, that's how you disappear. So, now I teach young chefs to document their process, protect their work, and never confuse attention with respect." Applause again, real, sustained. Maya filmed from the back row, eyes glassy. For the first time, since all of it began, I didn't feel like a victim or a survivor. I felt like an author of my own story, finally. As I left the stage, my phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. But I knew the rhythm of those words now. "They're hiring at my new internship, legal debt. Funny, right, Jay?" I laughed out loud. The audience turned to look. I didn't care. That night, back home, I stood on my balcony, watching the city glow like a constellation of second chances. The camera I used for my first live stream sat on the counter behind me. I picked it up, pressed record, and spoke to whoever needed to hear it next. "My name is Tatum Grey. I'm a chef, a creator. A cautionary tale turned cookbook in progress. They took my recipes once. Now I give them away on my own terms." I smiled into the lens, because proof isn't about revenge, it's about ownership. And that's something no one can steal twice. 3 months later, the world had moved on, or so it seemed. Raven's show was gone, her sponsors silent, her Instagram a ghost town of old perfection. But I didn't check anymore. I didn't need to. Grey Table had grown into something real: workshops, mentorship programs, pop-up collaborations. People came not just to eat, but to learn how to keep their voices intact. Maya called it culinary rebellion with paperwork. I called it freedom. One morning, a letter arrived at the studio. Real letter, real ink. The return address, Vale Productions former. He will set it cast. Maya opened it carefully. Inside was a single line, written in elegant script. "Congratulations, you were right." No signature. But I knew who it was from. Raven. No apology, no excuses, but maybe, in some way, that single sentence was the only thing she could still give. Closure, in 12 words. I folded it once, set it aside, and went back to stirring my broth. That night, our third roots dinner was in full swing. The courtyard buzzed with laughter, plates clinking, stories weaving through steam. A young chef, barely 20, approached me after her course. She said, "I watched your series when I was scared to post my first recipe. It made me brave." I smiled, heart swelling. Then that's the real win. After service, I sat alone with the last plate, a dish of grilled persimmon and almond cream. Sweet, smoky, perfectly imperfect. The kind of dish that only exists once because no one wrote it down. I thought of Juno, of Raven, of Maya and Noor and Leo, of the girl I'd been before all this, tired, hopeful, too trusting, and I whispered a small thank you to her too. Because without her faith, none of this would have existed to protect. Later that night, Maya joined me on the patio. The stars above Los Angeles looked fake, like they were photoshopped onto the smog. She handed me a glass of wine. "To the long road," she said. "To the proof," I replied. We clinked glasses. A soft breeze rolled through the vines, carrying the scent of rosemary and smoke. The sound of laughter drifted from inside my people, my team, my home. "Do you ever miss who you were before all this?" she asked. I thought for a moment. "Sometimes, but I think I've just evolved. Fire changes flavor, you know?" She smiled. Poetic for a chef. Occupational hazard. We sat in silence a while, the glow of string lights flickering like embers. When everyone left, I stayed behind, cleaning up plates and wiping down counters, humming to myself. I found one last folded note tucked under a napkin. Neat handwriting I recognized instantly. "You built something that can't be stolen. Proud of you, Jay." I smiled, tucked it into my pocket, and turned off the lights. As I stepped outside, the horizon was pink with dawn. A new day, a new fire, waiting to be fed. I whispered, "Let's cook." And for the first time in a long, long time, it wasn't about revenge. It was about love for food, for truth, for the people who'd stood beside me when everything burned. Because that's what proof really is. It's not the evidence of what was lost. It's the flavor of what survived.